Hello, welcome back to BlenderSushi Live Noding. Today we will be doing something that's a little bit more fun and probably not too technical. It's gonna involve Blender grease pencil and some drawing. I kind of miss doing some traditional animation and just doodle. The idea is to kind of recreate this flash face kind of app in Blender. It's kind of a way we can mix and match kind of elements of an object, or in this case it's face, like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the shape of the head, and then maybe the hair. There are a couple of ways we can do this, but I believe either you can use like multiple textures or work in a 3D, but it's a little bit harder if it's 3D. If you have like a kind of Lego figurine where every character is almost pretty much the same shape and you just change the textures, that's kind of the idea. But I'm gonna use grease pencil in this case, and then with grease pencil it's interesting. Currently still more the grease pencil feature in Blender is being developed further to be more friendly for traditional animations. And I was watching this video by, I think it's by Daniel from Pepperland, and it gives a nice introduction for grease pencil in Blender, especially in the latest version. So there's still few things that grease pencil cannot do, like to control the strokes that's free of the camera dependent, and grease pencil doesn't interpolate yet. It's not like flash animation. What else? I think with OpenGL also the stroke is not respected yet, but it's okay. We're gonna get around that small issues. So let's try just jump into grease pencil. Of course, since this is live noding, I will later on kind of use animation nodes to kind of mix and match the element of the face. Yeah, this is more like a case study or work in progress. Eventually, I want to make something like a character generator, or currently it's still kind of an idea. With the character generators, we need to worry about the positioning of the arm and the legs and the body's shape and the head, all those sort of things. It can be done today using Spreadshock and animation nodes. You can create procedural spiders, insects much easier, I think. Anyhow, today we're just gonna have some fun with grease pencil. So let's get started. Grease pencil. Where do we start? Okay, grease pencil can be connected to scene and object. This is the thing that might surprise some beginner user. And there's a tab here called grease pencil, and you need to check the continuous drawing in order to do. When you start drawing using grease pencil, you have to usually press D all the time, or you activate continuous drawing. In order to, you just need to tap on D and then start drawing, and it will continuously drawing until you go to another frame and draw another keyframe. And the stroke placement also matters. What else should I think whether you choose scene or objects is also important. If you choose objects and you are selecting a cube or camera or lamp, the grease pencil is going to be connected to that object. So kind of like this is I'm selecting that object and it's drawing grease pencil for that object. Now I'll switch to another object and draw another grease pencil, another object. So grease pencil is going to be kind of parented underneath that object, and it's only be showing when the object is active. That might be useful, but not for what we are doing. For what we are doing, we're just gonna connect the grease pencil to the scene. So when we draw anything, it's gonna be on in the world, right? Like that. Grease pencil in the scene level. The cursor, the placement, dependent on the cursor, or can be on the field or on the surface of object if we want. But for what we are doing, we're just gonna use a cursor as a stroke placement. What else? One more thing is important is with additive drawing is if you want to do that kind of animations where you're drawing stroke by stroke to show progress, you can use additive drawing, but we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna use continuous drawing. So with continuous drawing, I'm currently using Wacom, and then if I I hold D and then start drawing, so I can continue drawing without holding the D key on the keyboard, and I can switch to the next frame, etc., etc. So that's the basic. So anyway, I'll start fresh. It's gonna be AN face flash generator. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's hide the lamp and the camera and the cube. We don't need the cube, delete the cube, save it, and let's go to the top view. With the cursors, I'm gonna reset that guy to 0, 0, 0, and then go to the top view. Okay, let's do it. So grease pencil. Did I forget anything? No, let's just start drawing. We're basically gonna create like a few of head shapes, and then few of eye shape, nose shape, and mouth shape, and then we kind of try to mix them together somehow. So I think the way it's a work is to have a single grease pencil object and then few layers. I'm still getting familiarized myself with grease pencil, like for actual real production. But yeah, let's just start it. Turn on continuous drawing. Let's make a few head shapes. So I'm gonna create a new layer. Grease pencil, and thickness doesn't really matter for now. Gonna start drawing. So bunch of head shape. I'm gonna name this guy head. And just a simple one for today. Really doesn't matter. Obviously, you're gonna need a template at some point if you want to do this correctly. For now, I even like make multiple strokes like that. That's okay. Oops. So with grease pencil, you draw one shape, and then if you go to another frame and then draw another shape, it's gonna that means that layer have two different keyframes that later you can control. So I'm just gonna draw like a square. Haven't used Wacom for a while, so go to another frame, and then let's draw like a triangle. And maybe like a rectangle like that. So now we have 4 different shapes. Should I draw another one? Maybe maybe I can draw something that's more like that. We can I'll save. We can actually use turn on the fill as well. Something like that probably. Yeah, it's sometimes it does something funny like that. That means I have to draw proper square, you know, like that. That's okay. It's not, doesn't have to be perfect, but I kind of like like a rough looking shape like that. It's more kind of a natural somehow. It has like a little bit of human touch, kind of a nice outline, and then feel it's very rough. With the fill, it's actually not connected to the keyframe at the moment. It's the fill color will be applied for every shapes in the same layer, so that's also a limitation. You can animate it frame by frame, but most of the time it's gonna remain the same color unless you keyframe it or change it. That's the head. What's gonna happen is actually if we switch to the dope sheet and check the grease pencil, we actually have keyframes here. This is the summary of grease pencil. We can hide the summary and just look at one layer. We can switch this thing around. So that's gonna be the basic idea on how we can kind of scramble and shuffle our head shape and to generate multiple design or copy, and then kind of switching the eyes and then the nose and the mouth, and we end up with maybe hundreds of variations of face. So that's the idea really. Let's draw the eyes for now. For that I'm gonna create a new layer. It's gonna be the eyes. The layer order is important. I think the head is now at the bottom, the eyes on the top, higher than the head. The head, we're gonna give it a color blue maybe. The eyes, okay, let's draw it. With the layer active, now I'm drawing the eyes. Now we need a template at some point, but for now it's alright. And then I can draw the eyes anywhere here. Actually, I can have more eyes, and then maybe I have 7 variations of the eyes, 5 shapes of the head. It doesn't matter. You can also kind of experiment with that. Maybe this one is more kind of square looking eye. And let's make another one. It's kind of sad looking eye, or maybe more sleepy, like it's kind of like more like a robot kind of eyes. Maybe happy eyes. There's also probably limitations when it's feeling that. That's okay. Maybe kind of spirally eyes. The really big eyes. So that's a few variations for the eyes. One more, sleepy eyes. There is a way to tweak the grease pencil. Where is the editing? Enable editing. So with enable editing, we can select the stroke like that. If I'm selecting the stroke and then tap on L, and I can move that thing around. So that's another possibility we can probably use at some point. So we have a bunch of eyes and a bunch of head shapes. Maybe I'll do the nose as well. Another layer. And for the nose, let's give it a like a reddish kind of. We maybe not gonna be doing mouth, but maybe this should be just actually mouth, not nose. Okay, just draw a bunch of mouth. So this thing is quite fun. Like a creepy kind of mouth. Surprise. Angry kind of mouth. Yep, I think that's enough. Let's work with this guy. So like I said, we could basically just randomize the face this way, but I want to kind of explore the idea of using animation nodes to randomize this further. I think that can be a interesting little project if I'm doing this more properly with the eyes and everything. Maybe that's what I will do next, the next iterations for the same idea. For now, let's investigate this block. Obviously, we can just switch this thing around and we get all kind of variety of face, right? All kind of design. It's very dependent on where this thing is in the timeline. Where there's it's not the marker. What do you call it? This header. So we can switch this thing around. Maybe make a copy as well. But for now, I'm going to show you one thing. In Blender, you can investigate something called data block, and we're getting the technical area now. This is the outliner, and here we have the data blocks. So the other day I'm trying to see how we can kind of use Python script to scramble this frame. But in order to do that, we need to know what is the data for each one of this keyframe, you know. How can we access those stuff? So I need to dig into the data blocks. Luckily, Grease Pencil is an object, you know, like we have camera, scenes, objects, materials, meshes, blah blah blah, and then we have Grease Pencil here. So Grease Pencil, that's good. And here we have our Grease Pencil, and then underneath we can see layers. Under the layers we have head, and in head we have frames, I believe. Yeah, frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 frames for the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 frames for the eyes, and then the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 6 for the mouth. So that's good. We now kind of know what's going on. It's quite organized, and we can actually dig into each frame, and then we can see the strokes, the number of strokes, and then further on stroke points. So every points of the strokes is everything, all the data is kept, and you can see it here, and you can potentially modify each one of them, including the pressure sensitive data from the Wacom stylus. Everything is there. For now, we just worry about this guy. There, the frame number, the keyframe number where the strokes is being placed. So when I'm selecting them, I cannot really tell, but I believe that's the first one. So it's a frame number 3. This is head, frame number 3. I can kind of move this thing around, and this guy will update. One thing I noticed though, if I'm changing the frame number, it doesn't update right away. I still don't know how to get around that, but we will see when we are doing it with animation nodes and then like scrambling the frame number. It doesn't update until we do it. And also another thing is, let's see, this is a grease pencil on frame number 4. It is frame number 13. If I switch this to 6 and then switch this to 8, they're gonna switch, but also this guy will kind of reorder itself. So that's a this is 10, 11. So that's this guy is gonna kind of switch things around, I believe. It's not doing it right now, but yeah, but it will happen. Anyhow, if we are doing it using Python, normally we're gonna start with we might be using the Python, where is it? There we go, the Python console, kind of investigating what's going on. As we already know, this guy is residing here, so it's under bpy.data.greasepencil, and then that's gpencil is the name, the default name for greasepencil for that object, and then blah 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 frame number. So we can do it like this. gp is equal bpy.grease pencils, control spacebar, and okay, so bpy data grease pencil, we're gonna specifically get that G pencil. So gp, now we are inside that G pencil data, and then we can further get the layers, I believe, yeah, layers, and the layers names eyes, head, mouse appearing, so we can get maybe the eyes, and that's gonna be the GPL dot frame, maybe frames, it's gonna be our data, I believe. So we can, doesn't have name, but we can specify each one of them like this. So frame number equal 5. It's gonna update itself. Show it again. 3. So I'm moving, seems like I'm moving the eyes. Okay, yeah, I'm working on the eyes, not the head. Yeah, so that's the thing that we need. We don't need to see this anymore for now. Switch to a text editor and create this in the script. It's gonna involve a little bit of scripting for now. So let's see. Let's grab the grease pencil. I'm still learning about this scripting. So this is the GP layer, so we can select the name. In this case, maybe start with the head, but we're gonna change that later using animation nodes. That's the GP layer. Save. Turn on the numbering and the syntax. GPL frames. So that's gonna grab the frames. And we can modify the frame number like that. Save. Okay. See, I'm moving one of the frame there. We could in fact just use Python scripting to scramble this frame, but we're gonna use animation nodes because it's probably a lot easier for me to understand, and maybe some of you prefer animation nodes as well. So we don't need this guy anymore. We can use switch to node editor now. Now we can have animation node. Turn on animation node. We're gonna use script node. And let's rename this text into get grease layer. Now we're gonna source that script and then create the actual node. This is my script, get grease layer. What's gonna be the output? Maybe let's just output the frame number for now, or let's do that. But here, here's what's gonna happen. So we have a bunch of layers: head, eyes, and mouth, and this is gonna be the variable for our node, one of the variables. So I start with that. It's gonna be string. It's gonna source the head for now. So that's layer name. A better way is to just do it like this. Layer name. So layer name's the head. Now it's kind of working on this layer. And let's see. Let's output the frame number for each of the frames. Okay, frame number of each of the frame on that layer. So for item in GPL, item frame number, it's gonna output that. G-pencil layer is not, G-pencil layer object is not iterable. Let's It's okay, just ignore it. The output, I know it's gonna be an integer because the number of each object, integer list, frame number, frame numbers. So frame numbers equal, it's gonna be list for item in GPL. Maybe I turn off the always. Gonna print this guy. Have a look at the result. Nothing. Chicken layer is not iterable. GPL, GP layers, layer name, that's a GP. What is a GPL? Sequential layer, head. GPL frames. Maybe I need to get the frame. So GPL F equal GPL dot frame, and we can print GPL F. Has no attribute frame. Maybe frames. Okay, that's correct. So GPL F, we need to grab the frame. Now we can iterate through its frames for every item in GPLF frame item. Execute node. So that's the G pencil frame. Okay, good. We're getting somewhere. Instead of printing it out, we're gonna append it to frame numbers. Script. Oh, execute node 3. I think we're getting something. So this is our node. It's gonna source the layer and then gonna spit out the frame number. Let's check it out real quick. Debug drawer and have a look. Execute. Yeah, so we're getting 5, 11, 21, 29, 39, 46. So we have 6 frames for that head layers. Now, if we switch this to a layer name and switch it to others like eyes, update it. We have 8 of them. Okay, it's working good. Good. Now we're gonna maybe just turn on property change. So now the idea is to scramble this number somewhat. I'm gonna try something actually with the head here, with a triangle head. I'm gonna duplicate it. See, we still have triangle head there, and then I'm gonna turn the head around. Where's the edit? Grease pencil edit. Get that. Oh. maybe I have multiple lines. Maybe make let's grab this L and rotate it. Well, doesn't matter. So that's our upside down triangle. So I wonder if we have now. Okay, we have 7. So each one of the stroke keyframe is actually unique. Let's continue on. So we have the frame numbers. That's good. Now I'm gonna output this the structure. It's because each stroke is unique, and that's kind of stored in the, I think the ID called structure. It's an object, so I kind of want to output that as well. New output struct list, and it's gonna be the stroke ID. For item in GPLF the frame. Stroke ID is actually the GPLF. Gonna append item. So if everything's correct, we should be getting result. So that's our stroke 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we can scramble the we're gonna use the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, kind of making sense of those. The thing is, I haven't mentioned, the animation nodes doesn't have nodes that work with a grease pencil yet. It doesn't have node that work with a bone or armature yet either. So, but if you use script, you can kind of access that and then make your own script to deal with those. I think I'm gonna need to use another script node. Let's kind of connect the two. Let's do that. Another script node. We use different color. And this guy is gonna scramble the frame, create a script, and then take a look at the script. Import BPY. The input's gonna be the struct list. This is gonna be our stroke frame, stroke ID. It's okay, just call it stroke ID. So stroke ID plug into the node. And the scramble actually gonna happen here. Frame number is gonna be integer list. Frame number. And here, hopefully, we can just do this frame number equal frame numbers. For item in stroke ID, item frame number equal frame numbers something. Something like that might works. Name, enumerate, enumerate. Right. List index out of range because we don't have frame numbers. Let's test it with using our own integer range. Amount is the total number, so it's 7. Start step. Put it there. Execute. Now you can see it's animation nodes start to work on our grease pencil. Kind of a way to position the frame numbering, the frame of the grease pencil. Okay, square, triangles, blah blah blah. That's one way to do it, or we can, instead of changing the frame number, we can just scramble it using these frame numbers. So either way that will work. So let's see. With the list at the moment, it's a, let's check the numbering. So we have the number of the frame. We can scramble this stroke ID using shift leaf or shuffle list and see if this works. This actually works, but like I said, it's not updating somewhat. It's not updating unless I move this thing around. So that's it's a funny thing. So let's say I'm selecting these triangles and then I'm shuffling, and I was hoping that it will update right away. It doesn't. I kind of need to move this thing around slightly, and then now it's updated, and the one that's active is no longer, it's a kind of different on a different frame. I don't know how it works. I need to ask animation nodes developer. Maybe Jack's Luke can help. But this is a way we can randomize and generate the face, sort of. So this is my kind of proposal. That's gonna work for the head. How about the mouth? We can do that as well. So just duplicate this and then change this to eyes. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now the eyes is all in order, and we can scramble the eyes. And one more thing for the mouth. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7. Randomize the seed. Like I said, unfortunately it doesn't update. I don't know how. Maybe I should turn that off, and just execute the node and then let it scramble. maybe there's a one script that I'm missing to have here in order to update this dope sheet for G-Pencil. So like you can see, kind of need to randomize the seed, and then execute the node, and it's still not updating. I kind of need to juggle this slightly, and then now it's working. Yeah, that's the only thing. Otherwise, this is actually working fine. And with the head, like I said, the color is really only one color per layer for the fill. It doesn't connect to the actual stroke, but we can keyframe it I, and then change it to maybe yellow, keyframe it, change it to blue, keyframe it. And this keyframing might not appear in the graph editor either, another limitations. But at least we can see, let's see, we have like a green square here. If I scramble it and then execute and then kind of nudge this a little bit, now we have kind of green square. It's gonna scramble all this grease pencil layer. So that's the whole idea really. And you can perhaps render it out. Render using OpenGL image. It's gonna render it out. The stroke is not respected by the OpenGL render, unfortunately. Maybe there's a way around that as well. However, one thing I should point out: if you want the alpha, you can render this out with the alpha. Let me quickly hide this and switch to properties. If we render this out, we randomize the seed and randomize okay, 512 512 render OpenGL. Okay, that's good, that's what I need. If we actually randomize the seed and then we export it out, it's kind of like baking the result each time. We're gonna get like variations, and you can actually use that frame for kind of for your own, like a rough idea of characters you are generating. And you want to have the alpha channel. Let's see, render OpenGL with the alpha transparent. So render, now it's transparent. So if I render maybe I render which frame, 0 until 45, 0 until 45, frame step 1, frame step. We can actually have different frame steps, doesn't matter. We can render the animation, OpenGL render animations, and it's gonna render everything really quickly. So we should have result. And where's the output? It's gonna be on the TMP folder, but we can check the animation, play rendered animation. It's gonna look at that folder and then quickly create like a movie. So that's a Blender animation preview. So we have this guy, and then we can kind of load them real quick. Let's go to TMP folder, and that's my previous folder with selections. This is just gonna be a test. This is phase 001. I'm gonna quickly scramble this guy, scramble this, and scramble this execute node, and then just nudge this a little bit. Now it's updating. I'm gonna save it again and then re-render. OpenGL render animation. It's gonna generate our character with slight variations of the face. It's done. Once again, we have this guy. Let's put it inside a folder. It's gonna be face 002, face 001, face 002. Now we're done with the face generator. Now let's import them. Image as planes, and where's our TMP? This guy, use alpha, get our image. There you go, our face generated. Turn on ambient occlusions. This might be okay. Solid texture. Shadeless. Okay, shadeless. Cool. And import another guy. Import this guy is not group, so quickly group this. Control G and then move it a little bit. File, import as planes and get face number 2. Transparent. Use alpha. Yeah, it's shadeless. Okay. Select all of them and group them all together again. See, we have variations of the face there. And save this. Face result. And since we have all those, now go to Compositing, go to Animation Node, New. And with this guy, we can use delete arrange objects, and let's grab our objects, object list, blah 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 blah. Okay, objects from group, grab our objects and plug that in. Do we have enough grid? Maybe not. How many do we have? 45? Yeah, something like that. It's probably working. There you go. Random face. Obviously, there's not, because we have like 6 or 7 variations for head, mouth, and eyes. We don't see much of the difference, but I believe we can kind of more scramble all of those. Let's see if I even do this. Shuffle the list here. Now we kind of seeing more variety there. almost like a group of people. Yeah, so there you go. Another usage of animation nodes and kind of making sense of it with grease pencil. Yeah, maybe this can be useful for what you're doing, to make like cartoony characters, background characters, and they're slightly different. Okay, so maybe I have to ask Jack's Luke kind of how to make this much more elegant. But yeah, we can have more different color, but that's a way we can work around the limitations, like the coloring for the face, and also because the thing doesn't update in the dope sheet, you can really randomize it here, even with the rotations and the scaling. It's gonna make a whole of difference, lot of difference. Rotate, even the rotation, really, if we have Euler, random Euler. Oh yeah, let's randomize the whole rotations. If we want just to rotate in the, I think it's just the Z. You know, this character doing its own thing, and randomize with the scale and then stagger them. It's gonna work. Okay, yeah, so hopefully you find this video useful. If you want more of this live noding, you can subscribe to this channel, and hopefully I can make this kind of video. Thanks a lot. You can leave comments and leave likes and let me know your opinion and suggestion. Thanks a lot for tuning in.